right, hey guys, I'm Leila. In today's video, we're going to be going over my Spider 25 team. I managed to get about 30 seconds, and just a disclaimer right in the beginning is I've been a bit under the weather this week, so please bear with me if I seem low energy or so it doesn't make sense. Just bear with me on that. So we do have a Spider 25 team that's about 30 seconds. And this is the team that we have is we do have Achak in lead, ally defense in all battles by 25%. We have 2 Coldhearts, Prince Kymar and Tyrants. And you are going to see that, I have them all 60 and I do have priorities set up for them as well too. So let me show you the priorities. Now Achak, I actually didn't do anything with Achak, but with both Coldhearts, I have their Heart Seeker set as 1. Because the idea with this is that we want our champs to, especially like the Coldhearts, is I want the Coldhearts to be able to get their Heart Seekers in. Prince Kymar does his reset, and then they get the Heart Seekers in again. So the idea ends up by getting 4 Heart Seekers in there and be able to clear it. Now, Prince Kymar, so for the Prince, this is what we're talking about with his reset, is his Seal of Magic. Resets cooldowns of all ally skills and fills the turn meter of all allies by 20%. This is what we want him to do. And then Tyrants, this is how we have him set up. Basically, I pretty much want him doing his HP burn right in the beginning. So I will show you guys their speeds and I'll show you guys their gear after this. But the idea is everybody goes first, Kymar resets, and then they all go again. All right, so let's run this. And like I said, so we got this to about 30 seconds. Now, there are different ways to do this too. Obviously, if you don't have Tyrant, you could use a Mordecai. If you don't have Prince Kymar, you can use Renegade. There's definitely some better options. Like there's other options too. You don't necessarily have to use these champs. I was very fortunate. Prince Kymar was my 3rd legendary in this account. And I also got Tyrant very, very early. I actually have 2 Tyrants. So pretty much the whole time I've been running Spider on my account has been it's been HP burn with Tyrant is pretty much how it's been for me. But again, there are other options. It doesn't have to be. Now, I don't have Septimus. There's other things you could do too. So this run ended up being 43 seconds, but we have had this time down to 32. And for me, that is pretty good because before that, I want to say my Spider 25 was probably, I had it at 1.5 minutes. Then I was able to knock it down to 1 minute. And then we were able to knock it down to about that 30 second. And of course, it's still kind of at the point where some of it is RNG dependent, depending on how the freezes land. So there is still an element of RNG on it. But overall, this has been the fastest team, the fastest group and fastest comp that we've been able to put together. So I'm happy with that. And like I said, you guys don't have to use Tyrant and Kymar. There's other options as well. There we go. So that one was 38 seconds. Okay, so this is basically how the team runs, and let me show you guys their gear. All right, first up we have Tyrant. So you're gonna see that my Tyrant, I actually do have him in a regen set because I do take him into other places with me as well too. But right now he's in regen and he is in perception, and this is what we have him at. So right now I have his speed at 225, his accuracy is at 241. Now, when it comes to all the gear as well too, I'm always working to improve, get speeds better, get better gear. So right now, this is kind of what we can work with, okay? So his speed is going to be at 225. Prince Kymar, right now I have Prince Kymar in a bunch of just broken pieces. Other than he does have 1 perception set here. So remember with the Prince, I want him to be the slowest. I don't want him to be really slow, but he's got to be the slowest, right? So right now I have him at 200 with the accuracy at 271. Okay. Achak. So Achak, I do have in speed perception, and we do have some accuracy as well too. So Achak is at 203. And I did see, so I saw a question, someone was asking me why we use Achak in this team, and that's a really, really good question. So I'm going to explain that. So for those that are not used to or don't understand what Achak's abilities are, Devour All Hope is it's a attack an enemy, has a chance of decreasing the duration of a random buff if the target's under HP burn. Also has a chance of decreasing the turn meter if they're under a freeze. Now, Cannibal Might is really nice too. Places block debuffs and strengthen on all allies. And this is primarily, one of the reasons that we actually have Achak in here is for Frostfire Gale. Attacks all enemies. Has a chance of placing a freeze for enemies whose attacks higher than defense, and also a chance of placing HP burn if defense is equal or higher to than their attack. So what we end up finding in the spider's den is Achak is able to CC the spiders. And if people don't understand what CC, it's crowd control, right? So Achak is able to freeze the spiderlings, which prevents them really from attacking my team, which is less damage my team takes, but yet they still take damage from the HP burn as well. And also this with the Twisted Hunger is heals all allies by 5% of max HP every time an enemy under HP burn debuff gets a turn, right? So that means our team is getting some heals, but also fills the turn we have allies by 10% every time an enemy under freeze gets a turn. So depending, like, remember I was mentioning that some of it is also kind of RNG dependent. So depending on where these buffs land and what happens is we're getting a turn meter boost on allies, plus we're getting some heals as well too. Okay, so that's kind of what we got going on with Achak, not to mention ally defense in all battles by 25%. So now the Coldhearts. I want to say both Coldhearts are pretty much built the same way. So we do have, here's one Coldheart in some mixed pieces, but we do have a crit damage set, and then we do also have a speed set. So for my Coldheart, we have one at 204, and then the other one is at 201. Now, like I always said to him, I'm always working on trying to increase the stats, trying to increase the speeds. But you guys say with these speeds that Kymar's 200. So he's just underneath this one Coldheart that I have that's at 201. So again, the play ends up being that the other 4 take a turn. So the Coldhearts each get a Heartseeker in. He resets, they get turns again, meaning that they get 2 more Heartseekers in there, and then burn baby burn. So pretty much just HP burning away all the way unto the end. But that's basically what we got going on here. And, you know, like I said, what's been really fun for doing something like this is it took my Spider 25 runs down from a minute and a half and a minute to, like I said, it's probably more like the 30-second mark. And they're all also other champs you can use instead too. So if you don't have Tyrant, for example, Mordecai is a really, really good option as well too. He's an epic. So with Mordecai, has a chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 10%, which is nice on the Mama Spider, right? Has a 60% chance instead if the target's under HP burn, and he is an HP burn champ. Also, what's good with him is Time's Undoing, is he decreases turn meter of all enemies and fills turn meter of allies. Again, fantastic for this kind of a comp too. And Heavenly Flames is HP burn on all enemies and increase attack buff on allies. So again, and even that, like the increased attack could be really good on those Coldhearts as well. So Mordecai is a great option if you don't have a Tyrant. And then instead of Kymar, we do have Renegade. Renegade's always a really good option with her A3. Basically kind of the same thing, the same reason we have Tyrant in there, right? Is it's going to be for the reset. So Sacrificial Ritual decreases the cooldown of ally skills by 2 turns. So kind of the same thing, is just a reset. And there are other options, you know, as well too. And we're talking about other champs that we could possibly substitute in there for the HP burn. Like we know Crypt King is really good in there now. So there are other options. But guys, leave me some comments down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what kind of comps you're running in 25. Let me know, you know, if you're struggling in there. Do you run fun comps like this too? Do you have any other champs you substitute in? I would love to know what you guys got going on. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, check out some more videos up here in the playlist on the top right.